This is the High Voltage Business Builders Podcast, daily intelligence for serious e-commerce portfolio builders across Amazon, TikTok Shop, Shopify, Walmart, and every channel that moves the needle. Neil Twa and his Voltage team all day, every day since 2012. Let's get into it.
Here's a number that should stop you cold. Amazon's FBA fees have climbed again. A 3.5% surcharge on top of fulfillment fee increases, new storage tier adjustments, and category-specific rate changes that quietly went into effect this year. If you're selling a mid-size product, something in the $20 to $40 range, you may have just watched your margin compress by 2 to 4 percentage points without changing a single thing about your business. That's not an abstraction. If you're doing $10,000 a month in revenue, that's $200 to $400 a month walking out the door. If you're doing $100,000 a month, that's $2,000 to $4,000 gone every single month before you've paid for a click of advertising or a single unit of product. And if you're operating at scale across multiple SKUs and categories, the cumulative bleed can be staggering. For years, the math on FBA was simple. Pay the fees, win the buy box, move volume, repeat. Fulfillment by Amazon was the default answer for almost every seller at almost every stage. The convenience, the Prime badge, the search ranking lift, it all made the fee structure feel like a fair trade. That trade is being renegotiated, and the sellers who don't notice until their quarterly P&L looks wrong are the ones who will feel it hardest. The break-even point between FBA and FBM, fulfilled by merchant, has shifted. For certain product categories, certain velocity tiers, and certain margin profiles, the math has quietly flipped. FBM is no longer the fallback option for sellers who can't get into FBA. For some SKUs, it's now the smarter play. So the question every seller needs to ask right now is this: do you actually know where your break-even lives, and has it moved without you?
Let's get into the mechanics, because this is where most sellers lose the thread. The FBA versus FBM decision isn't a feelings call, it's a math call. And the math has specific inputs that have all shifted in the same direction at the same time. Here's the core break-even model. Your FBA cost per unit includes the fulfillment fee, picking, packing, shipping, monthly storage fees, the new 3.5% surcharge on applicable categories, and any long-term storage penalties if your inventory sits. Your FBM cost per unit includes your own warehousing or 3PL costs, your outbound shipping rate, your labor or fulfillment partner fees, and the operational overhead of managing returns. If you're spending $2,000 a month on FBA fees across a single SKU, the question becomes, what would it actually cost you to fulfill those same units yourself or through a 3PL and still deliver a competitive experience? For high-velocity, lightweight, small-dimension products, FBA almost always wins. The volume and the dimensional efficiency make the fees rational. But here's where it flips. Slow-moving inventory, oversized items, products with high storage-to-sale ratios, and SKUs in categories where the surcharge hit hardest are now frequently cheaper to fulfill through a merchant or 3PL model. The categories feeling this most acutely right now include home goods, large-format sporting equipment, seasonal products, and anything with a 90-day-plus average days to sell. In these segments, storage fees alone can eliminate margin before the product ever ships. For a seller doing $5K to $50K a month, this isn't theoretical. It's the difference between a business that compounds and one that slowly bleeds out. Understanding your per-unit FBA cost versus your real-world FBM cost is no longer optional analysis. It's the most important spreadsheet you'll build this quarter.
Let's make this concrete with two sellers. Different scales, same underlying problem, different responses. The first is a seller doing roughly $40,000 a month in revenue selling home organization products. Think storage bins, drawer organizers, closet accessories. Mid-size items, moderate velocity, average selling price around $28. When the latest fee structure hit, their FBA cost per unit on their top SKU jumped from $6.20 to $7.45. That's $1.25 per unit. At their volume of roughly 1,400 units a month on that SKU alone, that's $1,750 a month in additional fees. Annualized, over $21,000. They ran the FBM comparison. A regional 3PL quoted them $4.80 per unit all in, pick, pack, and ground shipping to their average customer zip code. They kept their two fastest-moving SKUs in FBA to protect buy box and search visibility. They migrated their three slowest-moving, largest-dimension SKUs to FBM via the 3PL. Net result, $1,100 a month in recovered margin with no measurable drop in conversion on the migrated listings. The second seller operates a portfolio doing around $800,000 a month across multiple categories, including seasonal decor and outdoor furniture accessories. For them, the storage surcharge and long-term storage fees on their Q4-heavy SKUs were creating a six-figure annual drag. Their response was more structural. They built a hybrid fulfillment model, using FBA for their top 20% of SKUs by velocity and routing the remaining 80% through two regional 3PLs with Prime-eligible fulfillment through seller-fulfilled Prime. Same disruption, same fee environment, but both sellers at completely different scales used the same principle: audit per-unit economics by SKU, not by category assumption. This is what sellers who survive platform changes do differently. They don't manage their business by feel, they manage it by unit economics, and they move when the math moves.
3 moves. Every seller can execute these regardless of where you are in your journey. Move 1. Build your per-SKU FBA cost card this week. Not a blended average across your catalog, a line-by-line breakdown of what FBA actually costs you per unit on each SKU, including the surcharge, storage fees at your average days in warehouse, and any LTSF exposure. If you don't have this, you are flying blind in a fee environment that just changed on you. A seller doing $10K a month can build this in a spreadsheet in 2 hours. A larger operator should have their ops team or analyst running this as a standing monthly report. The number you're looking for, your true FBA cost as a percentage of your selling price per SKU. Move 2. Get a 3PL quote for your bottom quartile SKUs. Take the 25% of your catalog with the lowest velocity, the largest dimensions, or the highest storage-to-sale ratio, and get a real fulfillment quote from 1 or 2 regional 3PLs. You don't have to move anything yet. You just need the comparison number. Many sellers are shocked to find their 3PL all-in cost is 15 to 30% lower than FBA on slow-moving, oversized items. That quote is your leverage, either to renegotiate, migrate, or make a data-backed decision. Move 3. Protect your buy box on your winners, not your whole catalog. FBA's biggest advantage, Prime badge, buy box weighting, search visibility, matters most on your high-velocity, high-margin SKUs. Don't pay FBA rates for the entire catalog to protect the performance of your top 20%. Segment deliberately. Keep your best performers in FBA. Evaluate everything else on its own math. The sellers who thrive in a rising fee environment aren't the ones with the most capital. They're the ones with the clearest unit economics.
If this episode hit close to home, if you've been watching your margins compress and wondering where the leak is, you're not alone and you're not imagining it. The fee environment on Amazon has structurally shifted, and the sellers who adapt their fulfillment model to match the new math will come out of this with stronger businesses than the ones who absorb the cost and hope it normalizes. Here's the truth about what separates the sellers who scale from the ones who stall. It's not the product, it's not the ad spend. It's the operational discipline to know your numbers at the unit level and make decisions based on what the math actually sets, not what the platform defaults suggest. That's exactly what the team at Voltage has been doing with Amazon sellers for 13 years, not as consultants who've read about it, as operators who've built it, run it, and refined it across hundreds of brands at every stage of growth. From sellers just getting their first SKU profitable to portfolio operators managing 8-figure catalogs, the approach is the same: operator-led, data-grounded, and built around sustainable margin, not volume for its own sake. If you want to know whether your fulfillment model is costing you money it shouldn't be, that's exactly the kind of analysis the Voltage team does in a discovery conversation. No pressure, no pitch deck theater, just a real look at your business and an honest read on where the leverage is. You can find Voltage at voltagedm.com. The link is in the show notes. Every fee increase is a signal. The question is whether you treat it as a cost of doing business or as an invitation to build a smarter operation. Thanks for spending time with us today. This is the High Voltage Business Builders Podcast, built for sellers at every level, every single day.
That's a wrap on today's episode. If something we covered today sparked an idea or made you wonder where you actually fit in the e-commerce landscape, there's a good place to start. Head over to voltagedm.com/discover. Answer a few questions, and we'll point you toward the right path for where you are right now. We'll be back tomorrow with another edge. Until then, stay high voltage.